Today's Cardinal lesson, we're talking about Medicare Advantage Part C. And we're taking an example and we're going over a PPO plan that's available here in North Carolina, but it's very similar to the plans available all over the country. And at Cardinal, we work in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. And just kind of on a fun note, this morning, I had a guy write a comment on one of my videos on YouTube where he said, "Why do you always have those books in your hand? Why are you waving that book around? Is it a security? Are you insecure or something?" And I found that kind of funny. But the reason I have the books in my hand is this is a book that I wrote, and I really don't want to take a lot of precious time on these things going over the book and its contents. So if you want to find the complete Cardinal Guide to Planning for and Living in Retirement, or the workbook, you can find all about it at cardinalguide.com, or you can look on Amazon and just Google Hans Scheil and you'll find out everything you want to know. So this stuff that I've put on the board, you know, this looks like a lot of stuff to digest in a short video. And believe it or not, I pared down this example to just 11 lines and 11 things. And actually 2 of the things are covering 2 things. So this is really a summary of a summary, because when I pulled this from the actual plan, it's 10.5 pages long of information. If we went over this video would be several hours. So why did I pare it down to just this? And what I did is I put the critical stuff for you making a decision over which plan you're going to buy. So if you're interested in getting a Medicare Advantage plan this year, or perhaps you're interested in getting a new Medicare Advantage plan, you're already on one, or comparing them, what I've got up here is what I think is the critical stuff. Is one of our representatives here, if they're talking to you, they're going to find out from you before we get started is who your doctors are, because all of these plans have a network. And to make them pay the best and to work the best, you're going to need to go to the network doctors and hospitals. And so the first piece of information we're going to need to know is who's your doctor, who are your specialists, perhaps what your drugs are, and then we're going to plug all that into our computer system and run it against there's probably in this zip code right where our office is, there's probably 30 to 40 different Medicare Advantage plans available, coming from about 10 to 12 different companies. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff to look at, and these are the critical items that we're going to look at and we're going to share with you, or we're going to use in picking out which plan we think is going to be best for you. So in this example, this is a PPO, and a PPO stands for Preferred Provider Organization. Many people know what those are, as opposed to an HMO. And an HMO is a health maintenance organization. And the big difference between the two is with a PPO, it's going to pay the best if you go to their network doctors. But if you choose to go out of network, you're just going to have to pay more. With an HMO, you have to go to their network. I mean, it doesn't pay anything unless it's an emergency if you go to an out-of-network doctor or hospital. I mean, typically, there's some versions of that. So generally, I like to start with the PPO. Now, there's some reasons to go to an HMO, but for the purposes of this video, we're showing an example from a large insurance company. And so what is typical of this one and many others is the monthly premium for this Medicare Advantage plan is 0. So that's one of the big attractions, because if you're currently on original Medicare and you've got a supplement policy, you're probably paying $100 to $200 a month for that supplement, Medicare supplement. And when you would go on one of these Medicare Advantage plans, you have to drop that supplement. The supplement's gone, but you also drop the premium. So this is a big attraction of Medicare Advantage plan is that you're going to have a 0 premium. So that's going to be money that you're saving each year. Now, the medical deductible, so when you go to the doctor or outpatient stuff, Medicare Part B stuff, the deductible is 0 on this particular Medicare Advantage plan, and many of them are similar to that. then it has an in-network maximum you pay out of pocket over the year of $6,700. So that means that they've capped the amount of all of this stuff that you're going to have to pay if you get sick. They've capped that you're out of pocket at $6,700. So that's about the worst it's going to be, unless you go to doctors out of the network. Then there's a higher cap for that. We're not going to get into the details of that. So this is a real benefit of this, is that even though they make you pay things out of pocket, co-pays, deductibles, that sort of thing, there is an annual cap on that. And when you're over here at Original Medicare and you have a supplement, you're out of pocket. There's no need for this kind of a thing because most of the stuff is paid for by this arrangement. So we're over here when you've got deductibles and co-payments, that's your max out of pocket. Now, if you're to go in the hospital as an inpatient, what this plan causes you to pay is $395 a day for up to 5 days. So in other words, the sixth day you got no out of pocket. So that adds up to just short of $2,000 if you're in the hospital for more than 5 days. Or if you're in there for 2 days, you know, it's just short of $800. But that's an expense that you're going to have, and that expense, of course, counts towards this maximum out of pocket. Outpatient observation. So a lot of folks you've kind of heard, or maybe this has happened to some of you, where you go to the hospital and you're in there and they just put you under observation and then they release you, and you're never really classified as an inpatient. And so if that happens to you, you've got a deductible of $395, and this Medicare Advantage plan is going to pay the rest. Now, if you do that out of network, so you go to an out of network hospital and they put you under observation, you're going to be responsible for 40% of the bill, no matter how much it is. That could be 10 grand in a heartbeat, or 40% of that, 4 grand. So this is an area where I want to keep saying that is if you go with the Medicare Advantage and the Part C, you're going to want to steer yourself toward the network providers. And the networks on these things, pretty vast, depending on who you buy it from, but they're pretty wide. Ambulatory surgical center services in network. So most people, when they have surgery these days, I know when I've had surgery over the last few years, I don't go in there overnight. We go to the outpatient ambulatory surgical center. A lot of times it might be right across from the hospital, might not. You got a $295 deductible, so that's not too bad. If you do that out of network, so if you choose to go to the facility that's not in your network, again, you got 40% of the bill. So you need to think seriously about that. Ambulance, if you use an ambulance, even an air ambulance, you got a deductible of $265 that you got to pay. Now, when you're actually going to the doctor, and this is one of my pet peeves, is that many people choose these Medicare Advantage plans according to last year and the year before. They say, I don't go to the doctor that much, but when I do go, you know, it's twice a year, 3 times a year, some years only once. And what my pet peeve is people will use the primary doctor and expenses in a healthy year to make their decisions about their Medicare Advantage plan. And what I'd really prefer you do, and I think is more prudent, is to choose your plan, of course, if you got seriously sick. That's why you have Medicare and Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement in the first place, is you're concerned that if you get seriously sick, run up a huge bill, how are you going to be covered? And if you're looking at this whole thing and then you're making all your decisions by what's on the bottom of the board, I don't think that's real smart. But throughout the year, when you go to your primary doctor, and your primary doctor is in network, your copay for going to see the doctor is 0. And if you go to a primary doctor out of network, it's only $20. So you can go out of the network, just pay the $20. You're going to be fine with that. Now, if you go see a specialist in network, you got a $45 copay, so they refer you to a specialist. You don't have to get a referral under this plan, but when you go there, it's $45 if you do it in the network, $65 out of network. Again, it's not such a huge amount that it's a decision maker on the whole thing. And these amounts on here are pretty similar across Medicare Advantage plans. And another one of my pet peeves, and when you watch Joe Namath on his commercials, he's talking about these plans. Most of what he's talking about is this stuff down here on the last line. Is this particular plan includes dental coverage, hearing coverage, vision coverage, a gym membership, and it also includes a Part D drug plan, which you would otherwise have to buy separately if you were over here on Original Medicare. So all of this comes to you at zero premium. So it is attractive, and I think these benefits are great, but they're not really, it's like the tail wagging the dog, is if you're picking your Medicare Advantage plan according to the gym membership or according to how they're going to pay at the one doctor's visit, that's not really good logic. I want you to be looking at what kind of situation, how much money am I going to pay or be liable for if I have some type of serious illness. So when we get down to decisions and we start talking, it's this time of year that people are examining this, because the enrollment period is October 15th to December 7th. So you may be watching this plan, this video during the year, in some later year or whatever, so it may not be during this time, but for right now, we're in this period of time, and so we're very busy, and people are looking at Medicare Advantages. Some people are looking at coming off of these and going back to Original Medicare. And I really want to finish the video because the decision is really in front of you. Do I want to be on Original Medicare, of which I'm going to buy supplemental coverage that I'm going to pay for? Or do I want to go with one of these Medicare Advantage plans? And the pluses of going this route, the Original Medicare and the supplement, is you got no networks. Is you can go to any doctor that takes Medicare anywhere in the country. And that's going to be enough reason for me when I reach this point, because I can afford the supplement. I want to be able to go to any doctor that I choose. Not as important to some people. Most deductibles, co-payments are paid in full. That's the other advantage of a supplement, is you're not nickel and diming you throughout the year. You just got to pay the premium, and you're pretty much covered on that stuff. You do have to purchase a separate Part D drug plan if you're over here on this Original Medicare and a supplement, not on that. So that's a negative because you got to pay the premium. The positive in that is you get to pick your drug plan, so you can go to the one that best suits you. And then you also don't get all these goodies that come on the bottom, like dental, vision, hearing. But I do want to point out you can purchase that separately. And then I want to finish with the advantages of this, because this is what the video is about. Is the big advantage is nothing out of the pocket by the month. They're essentially, they call it zero premium. They don't want us to use the word free. Then the other, that's the real big advantage to the thing. All these goodies that come with it, dental, vision, hearing, the gym membership, those are important. People like those. You might like those. And then the negative, and really the big negative, is the network business. And so you need to be careful. We do that where we're going to get you tracked into a plan where your doctors and any specialists or hospitals that you might go to are in network, so that you're going to have the, so that's one negative, is you got to deal with the network. The second negative is you're going to have some out of pocket, some substantial out of pocket with a cap during the year, whereas over here you're not. So we offer these from mostly the large companies. I'm Hans Scheil. We're in 50 states in the District of Columbia. If you want to get in touch with me, cardinalguide.com is our website. If you want to send me an email, it's Hans, H-A-N-S, at cardinalguide.com. If you send me an email, I'll respond. And we also are on the radio and podcast every Saturday with similar topics on Finishing Well. You can look in the podcast apps and you can find us at Finishing Well. I'm Hans Scheil, and I thank you for listening.